Welcome to the KK Penson TV.
Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel.
We do doll videos, Roblox, baking, and vlogs.
We also do short films such as The Story of Crazy Face, and we also do Talking Hot Show.
A special thank you to Blue Blood Sports TV. Thank you so much for your support. We will continue to work hard and bring you more content. Bye!
Show support. Subscribe to KK Penson TV. If you got children, if you got nieces, if you got nephews, if you got little cousins, if you have friends that have kids, make sure they subscribe to KK Penson TV. Please do that. Show love and show support.
Hi, my name is Heather the Heat Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
This is Amanda the Real Deal Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Hi, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Janita.
And you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, once beaten British heavyweight contender Dillian the Body Snatcher White had some interesting things to say about legendary former 5-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, retired undefeated, 50-0, the man known as Floyd Money Mayweather. And at the same time, Dillian White himself was exposed by rival fellow countrymen DERECK War CHISORA. Right? Now, we know that DERECK War CHISORA and Dillian White had two fights. First fight, I thought that DERECK CHISORA should have got the nod, but Dillian White got the nod. In the second fight, Dillian White knocked out DERECK CHISORA in dramatic fashion. Dillian White has been campaigning, or so he says, for an opportunity to fight for a world major sanctioned body heavyweight title. Now, he did fight Anthony Joshua for the WBC interim title back in 2015, in which he was knocked out in the 7th round. But with that said, Dillian White has been telling anybody that will listen that he was in position and is the mandatory challenger for Deontay Wilder's WBC heavyweight title. Right? But first things first, let's just get to Dillian White comments about Floyd Mayweather being overrated and cherry picking his way through his career. See, of course, first of all, Dillian White has 28 fights in his career. He's 27-1, 18 by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Dillian White is 32 years old. He's never fought for a major sanctioned body heavyweight title. With that said, he's claiming that Floyd Mayweather cherry picked his way through his career, which is totally not true. And you get a lot of this, right? Why? Because most people don't understand that Floyd Mayweather had two different careers, right? He had the Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather stage, then he had the Money Mayweather stage. Okay, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather was trying to fight everybody in their prime, and they did not give him the opportunity. Guys like Joel Casamayor, guys like Oscar De La Hoya in his prime, guys like Shane Mosley in his prime, guys like Prince Nassim Hamed, guys like Costa Zoo, you know, guys like Asalina Freitas. You know, these are the guys that chose not to give Floyd Mayweather the opportunity in his prime when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, right? Too high of a risk at that time was a low reward. He wasn't Money Mayweather. He wasn't the A-side. He wasn't the cash cow. He wasn't the pound-for-pound king. At that time, the pound-for-pound king was still one Roy Jones Jr. So a lot of people don't remember that Floyd Mayweather campaigned to get Oscar De La Hoya a fight. Oscar De La Hoya said no, too low of a risk, too high of a risk, too low of a reward. Oscar De La Hoya at that time was the cash cow, thus the reason why Floyd Mayweather wanted to buy his way out of Top Rank, because he wanted to be treated in the same light and as equal to Oscar De La Hoya, but legendary promoter, Top Rank CEO Bob Arum did not see that, right? So Floyd Mayweather eventually bought his way out of Top Rank. But he tried to fight Miguel Cotto early in his career. Miguel Cotto chose not to take the fight. He tried to fight Prince Nassim Hamed. He didn't take the fight. He tried to fight Joel Casamayor. He didn't take the fight. He tried to fight Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley said he had a toothache and that he needed to fight Margarito. Shane Mosley didn't take the fight. Oscar De La Hoya, like I stated, said that he was too high of a risk, low reward. He needed to build himself up. Oscar De La Hoya didn't take the fight. Felix Trinidad didn't take the fight. So there's tons of guys that didn't take the fight with Floyd Mayweather. Then it became Money Mayweather. second half of his career. After he defeated Ricky Hatton, he went on almost a 2-year hiatus, retirement, and then he came back as Money Mayweather. Even had a bald head, right? Fought one with Marquez. That was the start of Money Mayweather. Okay? So with that said, a lot of people don't remember this. They have amnesia when it comes to this situation with Floyd Mayweather. So a lot of people feel like he cherry-picked. Well, when he fought Oscar De La Hoya absolutely didn't have an option, because at that time, Floyd Mayweather was the pound for pound, was widely recognized as the best fighter in the world. It was a mega fight, and Oscar De La Hoya had to take the fight. He still was the A side. He still chose the gloves, the location, ring size, etc. Right? Oscar De La Hoya lost the fight, but he took the fight and it broke all pay-per-view numbers and records. Right? Shane Mosley campaigned for the fight after his biggest win against Antonio Margarito, or some would argue Shane Mosley's biggest win was against Oscar De La Hoya. Nonetheless, after he beat Oscar De La Hoya, he chose not to fight Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd Mayweather fought him when he was able to get him. Miguel Cotto had ample opportunities to fight Floyd Mayweather, even sat ringside at a couple of Floyd Mayweather's fights. And guess what? He chose not to fight Floyd Mayweather. Okay? So there's tons of people and tons of fighters that chose not to fight Floyd Mayweather. So when he did fight him, is when the opportunity arose, he took it. He didn't duck anybody. Point blank and period. A lot of people say duck Paul Williams. I interviewed Paul Williams myself, and Paul Williams stated that it wasn't Floyd Mayweather ducking me. It wasn't me ducking him. We both agreed that it wasn't the right time. So I didn't push for it, and he didn't push for it. So that debunks that notion that he ducked Paul Williams. Then we have the Margarito situation, right? Floyd Mayweather asked for a certain amount of money. They chose not to pay him. The Margarito fight didn't come to fruition. Okay? So now, let's just move on to Dillian White and his comments and his stance. Well, one DERECK CHISORA comes out and exposes the fact that Dillian White and DERECK CHISORA fight was supposed to be an eliminator for Anthony Joshua and an opportunity to fight for Anthony Joshua's titles. And they had numerous negotiations in which Dillian White agreed to fight Anthony Joshua, and the fight between himself and DERECK CHISORA was eliminated for Anthony Joshua. Then Dillian White did an about face after he beat DERECK CHISORA, wanted to switch the contract, wanted more money than originally offered after he beat DERECK CHISORA, and turned down the Joshua fight. Then he went to negotiations again with Eddie Hearn for a Joshua fight, and he turned that down, saying it was too short of a notice. He didn't have enough time to train. Thus, then you see Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua go the route of Jarrell Miller. Then that fell through. They even went back to the negotiations for Dillian White. He turned it down. Then they went the route of Andy Ruiz Jr. But nonetheless, he had a deal in place to fight Anthony Joshua. So how could he possibly be waiting around for Deontay Wilder and his opportunity to fight for the WBC when he had a deal in place to fight Anthony Joshua? You understand? So he was never sitting around waiting for Deontay Wilder's opportunity. He was actually sitting around waiting for Anthony Joshua's fight. And DERECK CHISORA says he believes now that Dillian White is being blackballed by Eddie Hearn and allegedly by Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua, Sky Sports, and BT Sports, due to the fact that they had this mega fight for Dillian White to fight Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium, and Dillian White turned it down and left them sitting on their hands and scrambling to make adjustments. This is what DERECK CHISORA had to say. You can go check out this interview he did with IFL TV and Coogan Cassius. If you don't believe me, he said it himself. So DERECK CHISORA said he wanted to clear up the notion of Dillian White, and he said Dillian White had nobody to blame but himself. Point blank and period. He said Dillian White only has himself to blame. He says, and everybody's blaming Dillian White. So he said that Dillian White also would have had an opportunity to fight Deontay Wilder, and he messed that up as well. So there you have it. where all the talk about Eddie Hearn and Dillian White, that's the reason why Dillian White is not ruffling any feathers when it comes to Eddie Hearn, because he know he had a deal in place and he didn't want that to get exposed to the world for him to fight Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium. So he indeed was not sitting around waiting for his opportunity to fight for the WBC title when he had deals in place to fight Anthony Joshua. Because should he have beaten Anthony Joshua, there would have been a rematch clause, because Anthony Joshua was the unified heavyweight champion. So there definitely would have been a rematch clause in place. And then he would have had a second fight with Anthony Joshua at the very least. And if he did become unified heavyweight champion, beating Anthony Joshua twice, let's just say, right, then you have to look at it from this standpoint and say, when was he exactly going to fight Deontay Wilder or planning to push the mandatory spot? He wasn't. This was all a ploy. Dillian White understood that he was a roadblock being placed in front of Deontay Wilder to prevent Deontay Wilder from fighting Anthony Joshua, because they wanted to keep all the money in-house with Dillian White and Anthony Joshua. That was the plan all along. So you see, he would have then fought or looked to fight Deontay Wilder for undisputed at some point, should he have been successful against Anthony Joshua in both fights. But he couldn't have been sitting around waiting when he had deals in place to fight DERECK CHISORA, and then after DERECK CHISORA, he had a deal in place to fight Anthony Joshua. So how could he have possibly been sitting around waiting for Deontay Wilder fight? He wasn't. And DERECK CHISORA just exposed that. And ironically enough, this is the same guy calling Floyd Mayweather overrated and cherry picking when he cherry picked his career. Period. So that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hey, this is Jasmine. Thank you for watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, soy Jasmine. Gracias por ver Sangre Azul Deportes TV. Gracias.